Yeah, let's say it's hardly was.
Wish how's your page doing?
Does not add up. Not add up. I'm not going to Google the name of this thing. Never in a million years will I think of the name of this thing. Who emptied their kids' stuff on
They were trying to get people to vote.
Who emptied their kids' stuff on this? Okay, poor kids. Poor kids, there's all this thing over them. Just remember, any suits you have, it has to be taken from one of these kids. He's taking them, I'm not taking them. I think that hidden all the good stuff.
Right, so okay, so we'll be going for a 20th. I've got one of our class and I'll 40 people together.
You have to do it.
The last time I checked was 240.
The guy I'm doing with is challenges people them to do stuff.
How much have we got?
I'm on nothing. I'm on 1,000. He's on 1,000. But they keep on telling him to track her in the pool. Guess why? He just got mad recently, this guy. I think he's on holiday.
It's 1,088 you got. That's very good.
Yeah,
Now look at mine, Steve.
You're 3, aren't you?
You're on a few grand, have you got
A few million, I thought. Steve, how to check?
246.
Come on! No, I specifically said not that. I want to wait. That's I need to save up as well for other yeshivas and for me.
I thought how.
He took that out.
You do know it's a scam. You snooze, you lose.
Time will soon know.
Where's Corona?
I'm busy fundraising right now.
My son got £10. That's somebody gave him 5. He's got his own page because he's in Sunderland.
Oh, right. He's on £10.
He's on £10. He's got 5. Somebody gave him 5 because he learned with a boy who's like things. I think so. That's quite good, no?
Parents and the boys.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't put the same page together. Yes, I know.
My brother had his father-in-law and his brother-in-law.
Yeah, he should have done it all together. I must say, they do it in a very attractive manner.
Yeah, very clever. The whole video.
That's right. You get very caught into it if you're not careful.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how they catch it.
Yes.
No way getting it. It's a whole.
So I think you must put it on the wrong page.
Oh, you didn't come on your page.
I really I do not want to campaign.
Who is it? Viewed. Yeah, I know.
Okay, we've got very lots of halachas to do. A lot of schmackige gemores here.
It's a good thing you did.
Right, we're up to Kuf Zayin Amud Beis, about 10 lines from the bottom. We've just started on in the halachas. You're not allowed to eat on Erev Pesach. Why don't you not allowed to eat on Erev Pesach? Yes, the Gemara said 2 reasons. Suggested 2 reasons. One is appetite, when you shouldn't lose track of the Korban Pesach. But the Ma'aseh, the Gemara Maskana says the reason is for the appetite, the matzah. And we said a very, very important thesis yesterday. It's important to keep track of it. The thesis holds there's 2 kinds of achille gaso. There's achille gaso where you actually sickened, and that's actually not eating. That is actually not eating. So nafkamina would be many nafkaminas, for example, eating on Yom Kippur, eating nafkaminas. That's not called eating. And there's eating when you're enjoying, where you just don't enjoy it. You're not sickened by it. So now the word says, Omar Abyosi. 10 lines from the bottom. You're allowed to have mine targimo. You're allowed to have fruit and fish because that doesn't fill you up. Appetizers. Oh, that's a good translation. Appetizers.
That's it, refreshment.
Refreshments, even better word.
That's article.
Now, the problem is, what is targimo? What is targimo? Oh. Now, if you look at Tosfos, Vinei Targimo, it's the second to bottom of Tosfos. Pirush Rashbam, it's a very interesting Tosfos. People don't. Says Tosfos, Vinei Targimo, Pirush Rashbam, Pirush Ubasa B'lo Lechem. Fruit, meat, but not bread. Below in the here says Tosfos, I don't agree. If everybody sees this Tosfos, which is very exciting, don't mean on the Tosfos after the kids were broken. If you're from the Vinei Targimo, Merch B'no Mezonos. So Tosfos says that Vinei Targimo is what? Mezonos. So the Afkemina, according to Tosfos, would you be allowed to eat Knete Lechem on Pesach?
Yeah, you can.
According to Tosfos, yes. According to Rashbam, not. That's the Machlekas, Tosfos and Rashbam over here. Mine Targimo, what does it mean? Refreshments. What are refreshments? Rashbam also says that could very well be that it's a mitzvah to eat refreshments. As we're going to see, certain foods create an appetite. So perhaps it's a mitzvah to eat refreshments in order to have a greater appetite. Okay. Rabbi Yitzchak Matba B'Yarki, he would dip things into vegetables to eat on the Pesach. He would give people to taste from the intestines on their Pesach in the afternoon to get them, according to the Rashbam, to get into the food. We've got a zeicha. This is a pasuk from Yirmiyah. The simple explanation of the pasuk is that in order for something to grow well, you have to plow first. It says Yirmiyah, if you want to hear the words of Hashem, you have to prepare yourself for it. You can't just hear the words of Hashem when you're not fully functioning. Right? If a person's very busy with his phone, how can he hear the words of Hashem? So you first have to plow, get ready in the field, and afterwards you can start planting. That's what Yirmiyah said. But the Gemara here uses it as a zeicheletov, or what? That just like to get produce to grow, you have to prepare the ground. To get food, you have to plow the stomach. How do you plow the stomach? You start eating. So to get an appetite, you have to, the Rashbam says, that as you eat, what's the word for it? You can create an appetite. As you eat, create an appetite. That is Shittas Rashbam. Rashi says the reason why these people would eat the intestines, the stomachs, things like that, was not because it created a greater appetite. It was simply because it's unfair to make somebody work while he's roasting the Korban Pesach and other things like that, or cooking the meals, not to be able to taste some of it. That's why he'll be able to taste, not because it helps the meal. Okay. It says, Rabbi would drink wine the entire Erev Pesach in order that he should have a strong appetite to eat matzah. So he would drink a very lot of wine in Erev Pesach, because drinking wine gives a person the cheshuk to eat. How do I know that wine makes a person want to eat? This now, top of between these cups, that's the first and the second, you can drink as much as you want. This is a din called Moisef ala Kosis, quite a complicated halachas, which we're going to eventually get into more. That we do not want people to drink too much Seder night. There are many reasons given. Some of them are because if you drink too much, you might get shikah.
How do you drink the whole day then?
Oh, because that was before the meal. That means at the end of the night. So the Rishonim itself asks if you're scared of getting shikah, so then why would we allow you to drink between the first and the second? The Shami says because the third and the fourth is after the meal when you're saying halom. So then you're already quite late and you've already finished eating, you're not eating anymore. When you're not eating and you're drinking, you're more likely to get shikah. The first and the second, you're still about to eat.
We just have to eat the whole day.
I know, because nowadays we spend a very, very long time on maggots. It's a long, empty stomach. If you only spend 20 minutes, half an hour on maggot, which is how you would see Chazal did it, so you drink, you'd have a meal. It's like Kiddush before a meal. It doesn't make you get shikah. It's the end of the meal. The point is, this is a separate thing. Here we're talking about during the daytime he would drink in order to get an appetite. It seems that didn't make, also he would be nibbling the whole day because we'd have snacks as well. Okay. But it's important to remember that between the first two cups you're allowed to drink, between the third and the fourth you're not allowed to. Be almost misunderstood. If you say drinking wine makes you satisfied, why should we allow you to drink? You're going to end up eating the matzah. That drinking wine produces an appetite. So here it says Tosis, and this Tosis topic of Chesed and Aleph is actually brought down in the Shulchan Aruch. It's very interesting. It almost misses the Gemara says that wine satisfies. The tuva goel pulta soit. If you drink a lot of wine, you get an appetite. If you drink a little bit of wine, you feel full up. The opposite of what we would imagine. Says the Mechaber. If you want to drink wine in Erev Pesach, what should you do? Drink a very lot. Very good. Also, you said it. That's what the Mechaber says. Why? Why did the Mechaber say if you want to drink wine in Erev Pesach, drink a lot? Because if you drink a little bit, you'll be satisfied. You won't eat the matzah with an appetite. But if you drink a lot, you'll get an appetite. Says the Gemara. Rav Sheshes would fast the entire Erev Pesach, and this is also brought in halacha. That somebody, we'll see in a minute, but it's a chumrah not to eat at all Erev Pesach. He wants to give you an appetite. Now the problem is that, Very good. What time is Bechios? Let's just see the second Tosus. So, what time? Shishta the hospital is Lav Dafka. Shiva Asim Milech. I mean literally a tanis because we don't want to come in Mu'una, and he didn't eat a lot. In Nami Kabbalah Mamash Tanis Kadesh Niska V'Niza Melech. He took on the tanis in order to remember not to eat, and then that way come to an appetite. It's a very interesting thing that this fast in the Pesach is not brought down anywhere in Babli. It's only brought in the Sechas Seifim, and the Maisa is brought down in Shulchan Aruch as well, but it's not brought down in the Gemara. So he says that this is one of the very rare places you see brought down the whole idea of fasting in the Pesach. As Taka brought down in Shulchan Aruch, so he used to fast of Sheshis. Now the Gemara doesn't understand why did Rav Sheshis fast the entire Erev Pesach. The Gemara says like this: we had before a Shaila, why do we not eat on Erev Pesach? We said two reasons. Either because we don't want you to forget about the common Pesach, or in order to eat matzah for an appetite. If it's to eat matzah with an appetite to enjoy the matzah, you don't need to fast the whole day. You could just fast half the day from the afternoon. The fact that he fasted the whole day, the Gemara Havman understands, means it's nothing to do with eating matzah with pleasure, but rather what is it to do with common Pesach? Are you coming Pesach in common Pesach in the morning? So there is a shit you can, because the Torah says about common Pesach bin ha'arbaim, which means literally you have to actually explain bin ha'arbaim. I'm going to read it this week. No, that's how I said bin ha'arbaim, which are the two darkness. One is the two darkness, the darkness of the midday, the sun gets a tiny bit darker, and then at night when it gets properly dark, so that's the whole afternoon. But there's a Tanya that says bin ha'arbaim between the darkness of the night before and that night. So the two darkness is the night of the 14th, the night of the 15th. So you have to become Pesach the entire day. If you have to become Pesach the entire day, so now we can understand Rav Sheshis not eating the whole day. Why? Why didn't he want to eat the whole day? He held the reason not allowed to eat is why? Well, because of the Common Pesach. And he held you allowed to become Pesach the entire day. So therefore the whole day he didn't eat, and we shouldn't take away from his being Common Pesach. Says the Gemara, let's see inside. Name of Rav Sheshis. Some from the Gedolah Tananda Amishna Hozak in the Gedolah Mishum Pischahu. You might hold back, you might not do Common Pesach correctly. He held that you're allowed to shech the Common Pesach in the morning. In the morning is the Common Pesach. So therefore the Kuli Yomer Chazir the Pesach, the Sava ben Arbayim ben Erev Desma Erev Deida. Maybe the reason he held was because the ben Arbayim is yesterday's evening and today's evening, and that's why. So well, only no, that's not the reason. Shadi of Sheshis to Isnis Hava, he was fussy, a finicky eater. The time it's Safa Midi food. If he would eat a little bit in the morning, at night he wouldn't enjoy any of the food. So therefore, that is why he had to make sure to fast. And again, the Bible says somebody who doesn't have a good appetite should fast the whole day of Pesach to come into Pesach with a proper geschmacked desire to eat. So let's ask the obvious question. When did Rav Sheshis live? Which generation? Was he a Tana or an Amoya, first of all? Well, it was Rav Sheshis, a Tana or Amoya? Amoya. Which generation was he? It was Rabban Rav Sheshis. It was a Talmud. Talmud of Rabbi Yehuda was a Talmud of Rabbi. So it was like a third generation. If that's the case, there was still no Beis Hamikdash standing. The Beis Hamikdash was destroyed in the middle of the times of the Tanoim. By the way, it's kedai for you to get hold of the charts again. We're going to be doing one sugi which talks about measures a very lot. Maybe Tony will just print out one page. I'll tell you one page. Anyway, so in fact, this verse, if Rav Sheshis lived long after Beis Hamikdash, so why do we care? What do we care that the reason you're not allowed to eat matzah, you're not allowed to eat is because you're Pesach? No, because of the Common Pesach. There is no Common Pesach.
There was anyway. What did you? When did you eat the Common Pesach? Did you have Magid then only after the Common Pesach?
Yeah, that's right. No, but it's a different problem. Paul says the reason he didn't eat was he shouldn't forget to do the Common Pesach. But he wouldn't have bought the Common Pesach, just lived long after. So it says that. No, but the Gemara says the reason why he didn't eat was because the Common Pesach could be bought all day. And if you eat, you may not do the Common Pesach. Yeah. But there is no Common Pesach to be done. Says Tais. Oh, what was he busy with? Says Tais, no, that if you hold the reason we're not allowed to eat is because you should be busy with the Common Pesach, it was a Takana to our bottom which was made when the Beis Hamikdash was standing, and the Takana was never cancelled, even though it doesn't, there's no reason. What?
What can you be good? There's no.
So what?
He's still
Chazal said, don't eat because we don't want you not to forget to go on Pesach. And once they made that takana, they didn't stop it. Okay. You have to eat, you mustn't eat until you do a seba. Itma. Matzah tzorich a seba. Matzah you have to do mesubin. Moro ain't tzorich a seba. Yain. What about wine? Itma b'shvid av nachman tzorich a seba. Itma b'shvid av nachman ain't tzorich a seba. We've got two statements. V'loi pligi. Habatati kasa kamoi. The first two cups. Habatati kasa basoi. The last two cups. Omilo lahai gisa. Omilo lahai gisa. The first two cups you need to do mesubin. Why? Now you're starting chevus. Doing mesubin is to remind you of the chevus. You don't need to do a seber. Have you already finished with it? Some say the other way around. He started to have a chevus. The last two cups is close to midnight. Midnight was the time when we came out to Mitzrayim. Because that time we were still slaves. So we've got an argument whether it's the first two cups need the subit or the last two cups need the subit. You sing Avodim But you have to do a saber. So you have to do a saber for all 4 cups of wine. This is where we get it from. So we do the big shout about the cow pass with the subit. And about nobody has them in Hogim, nobody should follow them in Hogim, there's Machlokas. But more you don't do Mesubin, the Mashpam says, obviously, why not? Because more is to remember the bitterness, and Mesubin is to remember the freedom. But Matzah is to remember the freedom, and the 4 cups of wine is to remember the freedom, so you do have to Mesubin. So there's a very, very big problem. What happens if a person forgets to do Mesubin? So the normal halacha is he has to eat or drink again. That's the halacha. So if you eat the matzah without doing mesubin, you have to start from scratch. And 4 cups of wine, you have to start from scratch. So Tosafot here is one of the first people where many discuss it afterwards, and pages and pages written about this problem. And if you look at Tosafot, it's the 5th Tosafot. What would it then be? Tosafot says, and this is how the Rabbi says, is that when it comes to the first and the second, you're anyway allowed to drink as much as you want. So therefore, if you forget to do mesubin, just have another one. The problem is, what about the 3rd and 4th? You're not allowed to drink extra. If you're not allowed to drink extra, so should you or should you not do mesubin? But that's the shaila, because you must remember it's a machloikas as to whether you need mesubin. Because we just had 2 statements, we don't know which one it is.
If you're not drinking, if it's a tashlumin for what you've not had, then it's not.
But what happens if you eat it without mesubin? According to one statement to the
Why would you drink again?
But we don't know, so you don't know if you need to. So you drink it at a sofik. We said before, we don't want you to get. We'll see. The Gemara does discuss why between the 3rd and 4th as well. That's right, and you can't say just be machmir, drink an extra cup because you're not allowed to drink extra cups for no reason. There's a famous word is that there's 4. We drink the 4 cups of wine. So the Gemara says that if you drink between the 3rd and the 4th, you will get shikha and you'll never come to drink the 4th. So Cheskel San used to say this sort of year. It says like this. But it says Vitzati V'Galti all refer to the fact that we came out of Mitzrayim. Vitzesi, Vitzalti, Avisudim, V'Galti. V'Lokachti, the Apostle says, V'Lokachti as Chmilo, I'll take you as my nation. The greatest danger is that we should celebrate Yetzias Mitzrayim without then coming on to the next stage, that the reason Hashem took us out to Mitzrayim is in order that we should then serve Him, serve Hashem. So therefore the Gemara says that that's the biggest danger. You're drinking, you're celebrating, you're drinking cup after cup to think to yourself, I came out to Mitzrayim, you're really happy. But you forget that the next part, and therefore that is where the biggest danger is between the 3rd and the 4th. Between the 1st and the 2nd, you won't forget, you'll carry on the 2nd, still celebrating. And once heard, it's a very, very, very beautiful word. It's like this, and the Gemara tells us, it's not in this Gemara Pesachim, it's in Rosh Hashanah. It is in Rosh Hashanah. The Gemara says that Tzdukim worked very, very, very hard to arrange that Shavuos should not be, the Sfiras Omer shouldn't start the 2nd day Pesach. Rather, they should start a different day. There's a famous Gemara that they once hired false witnesses, and one of the false witnesses said to them, I saw the moon skipping like a sheep, a tail like a goat, and if you don't believe me, underneath my pillow, there's the money which they paid me to give you this nonsense. It's a Mishnah in Rosh Hashanah, it's a Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, the whole sugya. Why did they work so hard? What difference does it make to them where the Sfira Soma starts the day after the second day of Pesach. What difference does it make? Why did they work so hard? The answer is they wanted to say there were two Yom Tovim. One is Pesach, celebrate Kanat Mitzrayim. There's another one called Shavuos. To count from one directly to the other means that the whole reason we went out from one was for the other. And they didn't want that. They wanted to say, let's celebrate the Kanat Mitzrayim. Let's enjoy that. They're coming, okay, it's a word going on to the thing. Right, so Tosfos says, we're not sure what to do. Tosfos does not pass them. Mordechai is on Prakton Lishmei Haseba. Prakton is not called a Seba. What is Prakton? There's Machlokas Yishonim, what is Prakton? Some say means lying on your tummy, a little bit like sometimes you see like an 80-year-old reading a book on the floor. How do they read? With the elbows on the floor, lying flat, face down. Others say Prakton means lying on your back, lying flat back on your back. Tosfos discusses it. That's just the Tosfos side. Prakton Panav Lemala. It means lying on your back. Like the Rashba, Panav Lemata, facing downwards. So how can you possibly eat lying on your tummy? The Gemara there says that the people would lie on their backs, those that died in the midbar, and they were so big, the people in the midbar, that they would bend the knees, and people could ride a horse. On top of a horse, you could ride underneath the knees. Like if you're lying on your back and you bend your knees, people could ride underneath the knees. The people who died in the midbar were so great that when they lay there dead, you could ride. Okay, so you see, it's like that's how Shittas stays. The nice Rashbam says like you're not allowed to do a saber not on your front or on your back. Oh, very good. Vishavor says that's what I was about to say. Vishavor says when you lie down at night, you should not sleep prakton. Vishavor says both. Both, yes. You shouldn't sleep on your back or on your tummy. It's hard. Okay. A saber, a saber leaning on your right is not a saber. It's dangerous because the food pipe the air pipe might come before the food pipe. And come to danger. I've got a son who's left-handed, and he tells me that it's quite hard because what happens is like this: when you're right-handed, which I am, so you lean on your left and you eat with your right. So that's not so difficult. When you're left-handed and you're trying to eat the matzah, it's not so easy to eat matzah with your left hand when you're leaning on your left hand. Now, halacha is that even if you're left-handed, you lean like everybody else. It's not like tefillin where we change with your left-handed to right-handed. So because of the sakana, so the food pipe hasn't changed. So therefore, it's not so easy for left-handed people to do mesubin. More carries on. Isha itzal bala lo baya a saber. A woman that her husband doesn't do a saber. Misha chashuva yitzricha a saber. You do need to do a saber. And the fascinating thing is the mechaber will pass that you should do a saber. And I don't know, did anybody of your wives do mesubin? Any of your sisters do mesubin? Your wife does mesubin? Your wife does mesubin?
Yeah. Your wife did it?
My wife never did. My parents, my wife, my mother-in-law. Your wife does mesubin? Oh, very good. Are you sure? Are you remembering correctly?
Yeah, only not tomorrow.
I've never heard.
Maybe it's just
Nobody does for more.
Exactly.
I've never heard of an opto. I've never heard of not.
It's probably just to teach a kid.
The Stiplers told his daughters to do
They're not scared of
mesubin.
us nowadays.
But my mother never did mesubin. My grandmother never did mesubin. My parents, my mother-in-law never did
They had
mesubin.
Yerushalayim. Nowadays, it's gone.
Okay, right. So you do like the Gemara, so you should be happy. The Gemara, the Shulchan Aruch says they should. The minig is that they don't.
Why?
And the Shmuel discusses it a little bit. Your mother does mesubin? Shalom, your mother does mesubin? You don't remember?
It says here, the Gemara says don't need.
The Gemara says they do. Nowadays, we could say all women are considered chashuva. Yeah, give another halach.
Because the women are still in
Better by a saber, son by his father needs to do mesubin. A boy who Talmud dates a rabbi mai. What about a Talmud by his rabbi? Toshma bike, Omar bike. Avinon beima. When we're by Rabbi's house, so gninon abirchi da dodi. We used to lean on each other's knees. When we pass that the Talmud in front of his Rebbe does not do mesubin. So if you give it to your Rav or your Rebbe for Tish, say the night, you do not do mesubin. Why not? You're not going to Rebbe? COVID. By the way, there's many poskim, Moshe Karp and others have all hacked a long time. Falking once talked about it. There are many people do mesubin wrong. What they do is they lean like this, or they lean like that, and that's not mesubin. Mesubin is exactly like this. That means not back, but
To the side.
only to the side. It's not so comfortable. And he says, one of the proofs is from this Gemara. The Abai said, how did Abai do mesubin? They would sit in a row, and each person leaned on the next person's knees. So they went like this.
Maybe that's why in that case,
I remember
because-
Mufak speaking, they see many people doing Mesubin like this. They think they're doing Mesubin. And that's how maybe slouching. Slouching is not Mesubin. I know. If Chazal told us how to do it, that's how we have to do
Maybe
it.
that was in that case because that's the way they
No, but you can see there was also the other wise. You're right. It's another thing. So again, this is how you do Mesubin, not what? Chazal told you to do it, that's how you should do it. Do you eat the whole meal, Mesubin, anybody?
No.
I don't want Bob that does. It's very hard, but nice. So nice. Look at the bottom tastes. What? No. Mishmur says you should. Mishmur says you should eat the whole meal with Subin. It's not about tastes. What's it?
soup like that?
Let's see the bottom tastes. What would happen if your father is your Rebbe? So that's a big problem because if you're Rebbe, you don't do Mesubin, right? Your father, you do. No, David, but Rabbi, Nami ain't sorry. So we go, you don't do Mesubin. Me, Stam, I'm not going to do Teirash. So if it's just a normal father, it doesn't teach you a lot of Torah, just a bit of Torah, you do Mesubin. If he's your main Rebbe, you don't do Mesubin. Says the Gemara, Meisvei, Makul Odom Meisvei, Afilu Talmud Etzel Rabbi, it says that a Talmud does. Kitadihi b'shulei denaga apparentis. You know what apparentis means? It's a posh English word. Apprentice? English word? Yes, I'm trying to teach you English. You know, I say you didn't have such a good English education. Like, yeah, apprentice. Apprentice is somebody that learns a skill. It's not learning Torah. So such a person does do Mesubin. Some person does Mesubin. What about the waiter? And Loy Mesav, Loy, a waiter who doesn't do Mesubin is no good. Shmamino, but Yaseba Shmamino. It's a via that you have to do Mesubin if a person's a waiter. Noshim Chayovis Baba Krisis Alod the Chayev all 4 cups, top of Kuches with Beis. Shav Heyin, Hoyu Boise Anes, they were included in the nest. So there's 2 tastes. I want to do both. Let's just do the first one. Shav Heyin Boise Anes, top of Kuches with Beis, top of the top of the second page. This is the kasha. Why do you need to come on to Shav Heyin Boise Anes? Why not? Why should they be potter? What's the answer? Mitzvah Seishas Man Gom. But is it a Mitzvah Seishas Man Gom? Is it really a Mitzvah Seishas Man Gom? Why not? No, it is time bound. You can only have it the Seder night. Seder night's also called time bound. Rosh Blog Shofar is only on Rosh Hashanah. The answer is not Mitzvah Seishas. It's only to Rabbanon. Says Tesis that whenever Chazal make a mitzvah, they make it like the rice. That's the first thing. Shafi Devis and next. Lavai Tamil Lo Yochayovis. We should not do the Seishas Gom. I've got double kiss Rabbanon ke the rice. And the next tesis, this tesis comes up in many places in Shas. Because it's quoted in many places. What does it mean? Shaf Heino Hu Boisa Nes. How would you translate that? What does that mean? That's right. That's how Tesis explains that they also were saved. They were suffering in Mitzrayim, and they came out.
So the same reason then.
Leading has got to do with the awe of the husbands. Right? Your wife is a total awe of you, right? So wife was there, she wouldn't dare lean. But it says Tosfos that the Rashbam doesn't say Shafei Beis Hades that they were on the receiving end, but rather they were the ones who created the miracle. Why did we come out of Mitzrayim? B'schus Noshim Tzidkonius, that's Rashi this week's parsha, how they would go down in Mitzrayim, they were faithful to the husbands. So this is a Yisodistic Shaila which comes up in a number of places. Whenever we say Shafei, where else do we say Shafei Beis Hades without looking into Tosfos? Purim and Chanukah. Very good, Purim and Chanukah. Doesn't mean that they were also saved. It doesn't mean the miracle happened through Purim. On Purim, it's very easy. Who made the miracle? Esther. Chanukah, who made the mess? Yehudis. So therefore, that's the shaila over here. What does it mean, Shapoyin Boisanes? Is that they bring out all kinds of different shailas depending on this taste. Let's see the taste inside. Very some tastes. Why? What do you mean?
They're also included, not that they made the nest.
No, I don't see that. They were made the miracle. Let's see this. This is like you admit. They weren't the main ones. So therefore we say, well, don't we have to do this with Sukvaka dinner based on this because the Shati also I say the rice. Babu Kristapol take the Gamnoshki Shabois on this. And here Tisus says Af is mashba here. Tisus says like you Af is mashba, them were not the main ones. I understand according to the Ashbam, they were also part of the leading instigators to why the miracle happened. Okay. So we've got a shaila what it means. Does it mean they were the ones who created the miracle, or is it because they were also saved from the trouble? So your wife has to drink 4 cups of wine. They have to have enough to pour a kois yofa. Kois yofa literally means a beautiful cup. By the way, there's a very there's nice debate we're going to read. It's more great depth. The shiur of how much is a cup. How much is a cup of wine? By the way, anybody know? No, it's 86. Dish is 150. Kois is kabachu how much? 86. Kois hogod is exactly 150. Anyway, the Beis kois yofa just literally means a kois of bracha. Why is it called a kois yofa? We did it in brachas. It's hard to remember. The Gemara in Bracha says that you're supposed to rinse the cup and you're supposed to adorn it with more cups. You're supposed to put cups around your becha. So kois bracha is always called a kois yofa. Beautiful kois is referring to the cup of benching. So he says the 4 cups of wine have to have within it the same equivalent volume as a kois bracha. Now, the Gemara tells us again many times that in the olden days the wine was very, very strong. They would always dilute it. Does anybody know the percentage? How much? 3 parts water, 1 part wine. So 25% wine, 3 parts water. Comes out that the more in the Havman understands, the more pushes it away. It's hard to even understand the Havman sort of, so that's gosh, but we'll leave it. And the Havman more understood that you have to have in every cup of the 4 koises a 16th of a becher, because you have to have with all 4 cups enough to then fill 1 cup. And 1 cup, you only need to have a quarter, because we said only 1 quarter wine. So all 4 cups have to have a 16th. The most going to ask, surely that's not enough. The one I haven't understood. Enough to do for 1 cup. If you drink it without diluting it, yotza your yotza. Shosam b'vas achas. If you drank all 4 cups together, yotza your yotza. Now here you've got an interesting thing. You look in Rashi. I haven't quoted much Rashi, but b'vas achas. It's about 8 lines from the end of Rashi. You are boss of the Turkos echot. You take the 4 cups of wine and you pour it into 1 massive jug, and you drink the 4 jug in 1 go. The Rashbam doesn't like that. Let's see the Rashbam. He's 6, 7 lines. I could have gone straight to the Rashbam. I could see. That's my grandfather Rashi. If you take a cup the size of a tank, at the end of the day, you've only drank 1 cup. What's the happening? And what happens? You come home from Kiddush and you drink 4 cups of wine straight after Kiddush. But what Rashi was talking about, of course, that's no good. So you drank it 4 cups in 1 go. And this brings down the Rashi. He says that Ekas like the Rashbam. So you drink 4 cups here. We'll discuss it later. If you give your children to drink your yotza, and we'll explain. If you drink it raw, yotza, if you drink it undiluted, you've been mekayim mitzvah, but you haven't been mekayim the mitzvah of chevus. Why have you not been mekayim the mitzvah of chevus? It's not pleasurable. Since it's not pleasurable, it's not chevus. Chevus is to enjoy it, to be free. So the question is, if you're not yotza chevus, you're not being mekayim the mitzvah. So what does it mean yain yotza? Which mitzvah have you yes been mekayim? What does that mean? Says the Rashbam, Yidei Yain Yotza, if you can see it, it's about 15 lines down. Remember, there's a mitzvah to have Simchas Yom Tov. So you've been mekayim mitzvah of enjoying your wine on Yom Tov. You still need to drink another 4 cups because of chevus. Now this gets the Shagas Aya very, very upset for many reasons. Anybody want to suggest at least one reason why this is a very strange statement? Why?
You can't enjoy the wine.
Okay, that's not upset him. Okay, I thought you'd remember, we had a Gemara that there is no mitzvah the first night, Yom Tov for Simcha. There is no mitzvah. If you remember, the Gemara clearly says, actually, it's easier for you to remember, because yesterday there was a dilshul for hair. You could have earned 75, 90, you can earn good money from it. Once a month there's a for hair. On the last 30 daf, I get 0 commission. I don't get paid that much for them either. It's quite hard. But anyway, one of the questions was, why is there no Simcha first night Yom Tov? Anybody remember?
How'd that come in?
It's in the last 30 daf. Anybody remember? Come on, you could have got to one. It's only 30 questions. It's 3%. You're on your way. Why is there no Simcha's first night Yom Tov? No, it's not so much. Okay, how much? Why not? Come on, somebody should remember. You remember? The Gemara gives two different reasons. The Gemara says you can't, simcha is to have a korban. When you get shech the korban, at night you can't shech the korban. Shech it before, you have to shech the korban on Yom Tov. That's one reason. The Gemara says another reason is because it says achsa me'ach to be mamayit. The Gemara says maybe should be mamayit other nights. The Gemara says the first night you never had the simcha the day. Since there was simcha the day, so you can't be, okay. There is no mitzvah simcha Yom Tov first night Yom Tov. So how can you say day yain yotza? It's a very, very big question on this Gemara. The Shach Ayah says there's a raya from this Gemara at least that there is, even if you're not mechuyev with simcha, but there's still a inyan of simcha. He discusses that. Okay, rice is a kasha. So rice, if a person drinks 4 cups of wine, raw, undiluted, is yotze the yain, but not chayru. So he has to drink them again. World carries on. Shosv v'asachas vav omay de yain yotze yidav krisis lo yotze. Again, the same idea. You're not going to be yotze the 4 cups. So if you're going to still have to drink another 4 cups. As long as you drank most of the cup. So again, look at Tesis Rubidikus, a very short Tesis. I knew, have I missed out? No, not missed out. How do you look the precious level? Tesis says you should drink revius. So you should push yourself if you can. Say tonight to drink a revius by every cup of wine. I remember once, years ago, I bought myself a becher. I went to the shop, was in Kiryat Sefer, you could get rid of these kinds of things. And I took with something which had been, got bought for something which is exactly 150 milliliters. And what I did was, I asked them, I want to buy a becher, right? So each becher, I measured it. If it was less than 150, it's no good because of 150. If it was a lot more than 150, I also didn't want it. Because since you need to drink a revius, it's very hard to know. Let's say you got a cup of 200. Many cups have 200, 250. This cup, by the way, it's got well over 250 milliliters inside it. I'm guessing, but I'm sure of it. 8 ounces. How much is an ounce? 28. 28, 160. It's over 224, 226. So it's quite a lot. So what happens is you don't know how much to leave over. So you should measure your cup, and in that way you should know that you've drank a beer Seder night. So the closest you can get, if you get 155, that would be the best. Because then you drink the whole cup and you know drank a beer. Okay. Meisvik. What do you say? Someone? In other words, what happens is if you've got a cup of 220, 250, you find it's quite hard going, and second night, and you've got 2... you drink wine. There's Tony also he drinks wine. He buys himself expensive wine. Which wine do you buy yourself? What's a good wine? I don't know. Oh, Meisri, Abakui Salalu, Tzershben Kedei Revius. You have to have Kedei Revius. Echad Chai, whether it's undiluted, Echad Mozuk, Echad Chodosh, Echad Yosha, whether it's old or whether it's new. So, what does it mean, new and old? So, whether it's old wine, which is the Rashbam says 2 explanations. Old wine could be it's not such good wine, or it's superior wine. I saw a very interesting question. I don't know, it doesn't bring an answer. He says in the olden days, they only used to harvest the grapes in the month of Nisan. More says it a couple of places. So the point is, wine which is less than 40 days old is not considered wine. It has to be more than 40 days.
More than a year old then? Or it's just under a year old?
It's either less than 40 days,
right.
Or it's over a year.
It's not wine, it's got to be...
So where's the chodosh? How can you ever have fresh wine on Pesach? Ask this a question. Doesn't have an answer. How can you have such thing as chodosh wine? What? No, because they used to have... Okay, it's a question. It should taste and look like wine. You said before, let's go to the cash on the first thing. That you said that you have to have all 4 cups, have to have within it enough to do 1/4 of a cup to dilute it into 1 cup. Here it says every cup has to have this. Every single cup to have a kulu revius. Every single cup has to have a revius, and every single cup has to have 1/4 of a cup, which makes it a revius. So there it's a pasuk in Mishli, where the Shlomo Melech is telling people, don't get seduced by wine. That means when you see wine and it's alcoholic and it looks nice and tastes nice, you can get drawn after it. I'll tell you, Yankee Saddam, don't get drawn after the red, tasty wine. But we see that wine has a pleasing look and a pleasing taste. So therefore, if you've got wine which does not have a pleasing taste, or does not have a pleasing look, then you're not Yotze the Mitzvah. So therefore, Therefore, a person should make sure that his wine should look nice. It should look like wine. That's one of the makrivis to have red wine on Seder night. Everybody is chayav 4 cups of wine. Men and women, and children. What pleasure do they get from wine? Topic of Testament Aleph. You give them nuts and roasted kernels of grain, and they should fall asleep, and they should ask questions. It's a very big chiyuv to give out nuts and chocolates and things like that to make them excited. They should fall asleep, and they should ask questions. One more line and we'll stop. We grab the matzahs, night for the children, they shouldn't fall asleep. There are 4 explanations to this Gemara, of which only one is well known and is not brought down by the Rishonim. Which one is well known about grabbing the matzahs? What do you? That is written by the Mekor Chaim, who was the battle of Nesivas, which is not brought down in any of the Rishonim. That you should steal the Afikomen from each other in order to get everybody excited. How many people here steal the Afikomen? You all do?
Used to, as a kid.
Yeah, kids do. Yeah, it's interesting. Some people get very upset about it. I do. My children always steal it, and now your children steal it.
Who gets upset? Some men.
There are some boys that get upset about it. Yes.
Yeah, because they probably be bankrupted.
No, because you're teaching, and you know that halacha that if your child takes afikomen, you don't have to eat that. You can just take another slice of matzah and eat it. Okay. The Maisa, that's the one pshat. But the Rashbam, Rashi, and Tosfos give other explanations, and these are the 3 other explanations. One is, eat the matzahs quickly, because if you don't eat the matzahs quickly, the children will fall asleep in maggot. So Mishnah brings this, you shouldn't spend too long. And Yisroel says you should be ready for your Seder night straight away. That's one explanation. Another explanation, very slightly completely different, Rashbam says this one, is that if people eat a lot, they fall asleep. So when you see your children nibbling the matzah, stop them. Why? Because then they'll be hungry, and then they'll be awake, and then they'll ask questions. So take away the matzahs from their mouths, so that they should still be hungry. When a person's full, he falls asleep easier. When he's starving, can't fall asleep. So therefore, grab the matzahs away from them in order they should. And one more explanation is that this also Rashbam brings that before Manishtana, you take the matzahs off the table, and you haven't even eaten yet. Your children ask every year, why are we taking the matzahs off the table? Yeah, they do. And the answer is, because tonight we're not going to eat straight away after Kiddush like we normally do, because we need to discuss why we're sitting here. So we take the matzahs off the table because to Kiddush ask. There's 4 explanations for this matzahs. One is we still have given from each other, that's the Mekor Chaim. One is that we get to the matzahs quickly, Mishnah brings this in Rashi. Others is that we should stop them eating too much, because if they eat too much, they will fall asleep because they're full. And another explanation is what? Is that you take the matzahs off the table, that in order for, let's just get to the Torah Rabbanon, because Tanya Rabbi Kiva miyomov le'omay gayis lamed beis hamedrash. She never said it's time to stop learning. Chutz me'avi psoch ve'b'yom kippurim. Twice a year it would say it's time to stop. Pesach we should to nurkes k'dei sheli yishnu. And Pesach in order that they should be able to, they shouldn't fall asleep. That people should feed the children to be able to fast. The big question is, top Tosfos, why did he stop learning on Pesach, Rabbi Akiva? Why did he stop learning? The Rashbam says that what he used to do is, he used to tell the fathers, go home, to put your children to bed.
He was away from his wife for many years.
Fake Tosfos, you need the husband to put your child to bed. Nice nowadays they do, because the children, they go upstairs and 5 minutes later they come down and say they're finished resting and they're hungry, they've had enough. So maybe that's why he sent the men. We keep ask Kash, why he sent the men? The Rashbam says we'd send the men home to help the children sleep Pesach in the afternoon, but why would you need such a thing? Why can't the wives put them to bed? So Tosfos says that another pshat is like this, is that you want everything to be ready, Seder night straight away, in order they should start the Seder night straight away. They shouldn't be delayed. So we'd stop learning on Erev Pesach in order to prepare the Seder table, in order to straight away. And Tosfos says that's not necessary. So Tosfos says, because you can prepare the Seder night, you can also prepare the Seder night immediately. So Tosfos says it means the night of Pesach, not Erev Pesach. During the night of Pesach, when it was time to say Magid, he would send the men home that they should be able to say the Manishtana with the children. So a few different explanations exactly why they would stop learning on Erev Pesach. It's a very, very beautiful story. The Chidush Yehovim had 13 children, can you imagine? They all died before they got married, except for one. And that one died shortly after he got married. And he had a son called the Sfas Emes. His wife was very tzibachim from him. Can you imagine having 13 children, losing them all? I've got a biography on Chidush, beautiful stories about him. Anyway, what happened was every Erev Pesach, the Chidush Yehovim would take his grandson, the Sfas Emes, and put him to bed. And Sfas Emes said when he grew up, he thought the reason was because they shouldn't disturb it. Because in those days, they had no food. So Erev Pesach was much more hectic. They'd have to shecht and cook and everything from scratch on Erev Pesach. When he got old, they realized the Chidush Yehovim wanted that Seder night is going to talk to him about the Seder, about the Yisroel time. So he wanted to bond with him. How can you bond with him? So he used to put him in his own bed. So in that way, that the grandson should feel close to his grandfather. It's a very important thing when one's Aleph base of getting ready for Seder night is not to be in a bad mood. It's not always so easy because there's a lot of things. Yeah, you've got to go for rest. Okay. But Kiva used to stop ready at Pesach people. What?
They didn't have Pesach pictures in those days either.
They didn't have Pesach pictures. Yes. Very good. Up to Tonu Rabbanon, Kuftes Mudalef. And tomorrow, we need, okay, so maybe I could show you, or I need to, you still have the email from me, no? There are 2 pages. What is, so it's very kedai if you can. What is this one?
All the measures, not the measures.
Sorry.
The history. The
This one, Tefach, this one,
Yeah.
and this one. So measures of length and measures of volume. So will you remember it? Measures of volume. We're beginning back with this. If you can, I can see it's less there. Measures of volume and measures of length.
Length and volume.
If you can, you can. If not, otherwise. I spent about an hour or 2 today just. Nice to see David. How are you doing? How's your baby doing? Your daughter? I'm sure you're going to make sure that she still's laughing. Cayman.
We're in isolation.
What?
We're in isolation. My son.
You're in isolation, Ivy.
So.
She'll be well. That's the main thing.
Amen.
Do you have somebody to do your shopping for you? What do you do about shopping?
Yeah. Kosher City. Fine.